Whether you're decorating a fairy-inspired room, just living your hot face summer, planning a Ren Fair outfit, or just looking for your next whimsical project, here are 50 Fairycore crochet ideas. As always, all the patterns that I'll be mentioning today will be linked in the description in the order that I mentioned them. We are breaking this video into categories, which are wearables, accessories, bags, home, and miscellaneous. Also, there will be a link in the description for a playlist, which includes all of my 50 crochet ideas videos. In it, you'll find videos like Fae clothing inspired ideas, Ren Fair, home decor for fantasy lovers. If fantasy and crafting is something that warms up your soul, please consider liking the video and subscribing so we may meet again. Let's get started with those wearables. First we have the Aloy's top. This is an intermediate level top. I will be mentioning when something isn't beginner friendly, alright? This is a project to be done in an afternoon, and also there is no set size. Then we have the Bloom top. I genuinely love how different colors give this top a completely different vibe. The Eliana top. The sleeves are adjustable on placement. I need this in every color of the rainbow, please. We have the hibiscus top. If you want to feel like a beautiful flower, this is it. Then we have the Mariposa top. This is a good variant for the typical butterfly top, and also this one is a little bit more covered up if modesty is something that's important to you. We have the Primrose Peplum top. This is a YouTube tutorial. The written pattern would actually be played. Then we have the Flora set. This includes the top and the skirt. There's nothing more modern fairy than wings. Then we have this Lilith top slash dress. You can adjust it based on the length. This reminded me so much of Salama from Amagi Brilliant Park, which is an anime. They feature these 4 fairies which represent the elements, and it reminded me so much of the fire element. Then we have the Dragonfly baby doll dress. This includes a filet crochet top. I haven't tried doing filet crochet. Is this my sign too? Then we have the Better World dress. It is a beautiful dress with even a better message. I would recommend checking out the description on Ravelry for this pattern. Then we have the L skirt. While I believe this skirt would fit in any video of this kind, these 2 color palettes actually made me put it here. Also, it is intermediate level and made to measure. Then we have the fairy skirt. It is a shorter skirt, but it is easy to make. Moving into accessories. Let's start with this Lotus choker. This is an absolutely beautiful choker, and I honestly can't believe this is free. Then we have the tulip fingerless gloves. Listen, this is to ensure that this video works all year long. Then we have this fairy wing charm. I actually promise you this is way easier than it looks like, and the beads are actually sewn on. Then we have these elf ears. I need to try this out. Then we have this ivy crown. This is done with crochet thread instead of yarn. That means that it's not as bulky, and there is a slight chance that if you're braiding your hair, you can braid this into it. Then we have this beautiful daisy hairband. It is a very simple YouTube tutorial, but still a very cute addition. Then we have this flower hair tie. This is inspired by Rapunzel. This is really fast and really easy to make. Then I found the Rose Witch hat. This is actually adjustable to any age. I can imagine adding different flowers and leaves to maybe a little frog friend. Moving into bags. Starting with the fairy trinket pouch. This is a very simple project, yet there are never enough bags for trinkets, because there are never enough trinkets. Then we have the fairy dust bag. You know, if you want something different, this bag is kind of cute. Shameless plug. Then we have the frog backpack. There are actually 2 versions of this bag. It just seems happy to be here. Then we have the acorn / oak leaf bag. We need and deserve more whimsy bags. Then we have this mushroom pouch. Personally, I would embroider the white on the top to make it resemble more a mushroom. Then we have the Princess and the Pauper bag. This is a multiple part video tutorial. Then you have the Raspberry bag shard. I truly believe you can make these in any size and take them everywhere. Then we have the round door crossbody bag. This exists in the realm between pots and pans and second breakfast. That's the perfect spot to be at. Then we have the fall messenger bag, very earthy. This is exactly what I picture a nature fairy taking with their back to school outfit. Then we have the fairy hollow log basket. I struggle to choose a photo to present this pattern because it has so many details on every corner. Moving into home, we have this toadstool fairy house. This is actually a jar cover. If you collect jars like me, you'll love this. Then we have the forest floor basket. Another toadstool basket, but it has flowers. Then we have the Tanglewood wall organizer. Stylish and useful, just how we like things. We have the Monarch butterfly tapestry. I haven't done tapestry in a while, and this is tempting. Then we have this flower table mat / rug. This is super easy. It can be a coaster, it can be a table center. In the right yarn, I dare say it can actually be a rug. Then we have a mushroom coaster. Nothing to add, just adorable. A DIY desk decor. This video tutorial includes a coaster, a mini pond with a little duck, and a jewelry tray. Then we have this flower coaster, which is a pretty simple yet beautiful pattern. We have a mushroom pillow, a must-have, if you ask me. Then we have this flower pillow. It is a no-sew pattern. Then we have a fairy moss pillow. A great way to practice multiple stitches. Also to use a lot of green scrap yarn. Then we have a fairy tale cat cave. What if you bring some whimsy to your feline's life? Moving into miscellaneous. Starting with a Lily of the Valley light. This is a video tutorial for this light. If, of course, you decide to include the fairy lights. Otherwise, it's just a Lily of the Valley pot. Then we have a fairy swing. This includes a swing, a toadstool, ivy, cobblestones. It's beautiful. On a similar note, we have a mushroom hanging plant. This is so adorable, and I've actually never seen this being done before. Then we have these gnomes with a little stump house. A couple of friends to keep around, and their little home. Then we have a fairy ring. Just remember, don't step into it, otherwise you may be dancing for a while. Then we have this fairy garden spinner, because a wind spinner is always welcome. We have a frog / mushroom bookmark for the lovely readers out there. Then we have a rose fairy. These are actually reversible flower fairies. So the skirt would be the petals of the flower, but while it's facing up, you see a flower, and it's facing down, you see a beautiful fairy. Listen, I could have actually mentioned many fairy dolls because that's my obsession. Please appreciate my self-control. Then we have spring garden spirits. You see, instead I just brought the fairy friends. And Florence the fun guy. I'll control the fun guy jokes this time. It will be too much. And finally, we have the night garden charm. I sincerely think these would heal me. And those are all the patterns for today. Apart from the patterns links, you may also find all of my social medias down in the description, including the Fae Club, also known as my Patreon. Thank you so much to all my patrons for supporting Sylvanis. That means the world to me. Also, let me know down in the comments which of these patterns was your favorite, and if there's any video of this kind that you'd like me to make, also let me know. I hope to see you in your next adventure, traveler.